I'm Tony Taylor. Are you here for Leaders Lead the podcast? Let's go. Hey, how did you beat me? Look, let me tell you about this podcast. We got like 5 seconds. Leaders Lead the podcast is about leadership. Not just the leader without, but the leader within. All of these leaders that I'm talking to across the country, well, across the world now, they have one thing in common, and that's that they have overcome some insurmountable obstacles to get to where they're at today. Come on, let's go. We are back. This is Leaders Lead the podcast. I'm super excited about my guest today. Before we get to my guest, I want to say thank you to our sponsors, Comcast, ADP, and of course, Speak University. Speak University is my baby, is a university that dives into the art of communication. So if you ever get stuck in trying to figure out how to say it, who to say it to, or what tone to use, go to speakuniversity.org. That's a good commercial. So today we got my friend Steph Hilfer. Y'all give me a second. I want to love on Steph a little bit. I've been looking at her branding. I've been looking at her post, and I just been mesmerized because she embodies something that I think is really cool. When I first got into entrepreneurship, Steph, I thought that it was all about, like when we're talking about Brandon, that it was all about the logo and the colors. And we'll get to that. That was what I thought. But I started looking at different people on social media and kind of seeing what they had to offer. And yours brought really kind of some really good highlights to me. So with that being said, I love your work. I love what you do. I think that your brand is amazing. I think you're amazing. Welcome to the show.
Gosh, thank you. And wow, that intro. I mean, talk about pumping me up. It's like we've got like the eye of the tiger just like about to jump on your show. Like, I love it. I need that energy every time I'm on a show.
I meant every word of it. I think that you're freaking amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, I love it. And you are not alone in the assumption of what a brand is, right? And you're not wrong either. A brand is a lot of things, and I'm sure we'll dive into it. But I love that you said that right off the bat.
Oh yeah. And the colors are important. This in the back, it's a 0000. Hex 000.
You know that.
See what I'm talking about? Yeah, that's entrepreneurship. If y'all don't know, Leaders Lead was born out of a necessity. It was the recession. I had just changed my jobs. I just became a speaker full time. I started talking to amazing people like Steph, and I started learning about business. I contribute Leaders Lead to everything that I know about business from people like Steph. And that was one thing that, like, the half. Do you want to explain what the colors are, those numbers that I just rung off? I know you know what I mean.
Oh yeah, of course. Well, the thing is, hex color codes is what hex. I think. Yeah, hex color codes. So
I said heck. I said hef.
That's okay.
I know a little bit to get it wrong.
Yeah, yes, right. Just enough to be dangerous, as most entrepreneurs, I feel like, are. So the hex code, you'll often see, like, if you are using any sort of tool online, so whether it's a website builder, maybe it's a design software, like some free online, like I think Canva is a really popular one. The most common color tool that they're using is hex. And so you'll often see either HEX shown, or you'll see a hashtag. And that hashtag is not where you put, like FOMO or whatever, right? That's actually a code, a numerical and a mix of numbers and letters, a code that makes up your color. But right before we ever had hex codes, we had several other color models. We have RGB, which is what we see on screens. We have CMYK, which is how anything printed comes to be. We have lab, which is how fabrics are made up with color, right? I could go on and on. Tony, you're probably dreading that you asked.
No. I'm nerding out right now. Go, keep, they need to hear this show is about entrepreneurship, and leadership. Hopefully I can get some corporate executives that, that's my mission, is to get people to jump into entrepreneurship, because I think it's the ultimate form of leadership. So keep going. This is amazing. I'm glad I'm recording.
And then, one of the most famous color model that really has become almost like a name, like, right, like Post-its are Post-its, right? They're not sticky notes, they're Post-its in our mind. Pantone really has paved a way in the color model world to become the place where you can create the most consistency. There's Pantone swatch books. And if I am so brave as to look in my very organized, or lack thereof, where would my color swatch books be? Here we go. There's a very dated color swatch book, but right. So similar to what somebody would be familiar with, maybe they're painting a house, choosing fabric color for carpet, right? We're familiar with these.
I get anxiety when you pull that thing out. It remind me when me and my wife was buying our house.
I will tell you, this is a very anxiety-driven tool. One, these are very expensive. And two, you have to be very particular. Oils, light, all those things really shift the colors on these. But to your point, when I'm working with clients and this is the stage of the game of what colors, and let's say we narrow it down to a green or whatever color I land on, right? A purple. Now all of a sudden, well, which one? And there's so many. So it is a really nerve-wracking moment for a lot of people. But what branding with strategy does is it takes away this like wife and husband element of, well, I like this one, but I like this one. And it changes it from that thought to what serves our mission and what will attract our target audience.
Wow. Okay.
Big shift. Now there's, different thought leaders and different thoughts around color theory and how relevant it is. But we absolutely know that color does evoke behavior. It evokes consistency. It evokes mood. And so what I do with branding is I help leaders recognize the power in not choosing, purple and gold because your favorite sports team is the Huskies or something, but really like thinking about, what do I want my customers to feel when they come to me? What sort of personality do my colors say about me? When I use color selectively, do I evoke an action, right? Can they read it, right? Is it a color that actually serves my mission well? And so, we do that with every element of the brand, not just color. Wow. The question you will hear me ask time and time again is, does that serve you well? Someone will say, oh, well, this is my favorite photo of me. I want to use it. And maybe it's a selfie from 12 years ago and they're in the jungle. Okay. So does that serve?
No way.
Maybe. And so it's like, well, maybe that selfie serves you well. I'm not saying that your favorite sports team colors can't serve you well, but I'm going to be the one who's going to challenge your thought around why we're making these choices for your brand and making sure they're rooted with intention and strategy. And if that's not a commercial, I don't know what else is.
Wow. No, it definitely is. And that was a good, oh my God. Cause my head is just kind of like all over the place right now because it's deeper.
Oh yeah.
Like the quote from back in the day, this is deeper than rap. This is deep. Like, okay, so what's the branding process, right? So I'm a brand new entrepreneur. I want to start I call you and I'm like, Steph, I want to get you to make my logo because I'm starting a company.
Yeah, yeah.
That's exactly probably how I said it back in the day.
I believe it. And it's exactly how a lot of people come to me is that one element of a brand, right? The logo. So
You don't have to give away. Don't give away your proprietary stuff. Don't give away.
oh
I
no,
don't. Okay.
there's not a lot that I don't share. Oh, this should be one of my core values, but it's not. But transparency is something you will always get from me. And it's because I can tell you everything that I do, but the actual execution is where the magic happens. I want people to know what a brand consists of. I'm very transparent.
Wow.
Exactly what I give my clients is on my website. I put my pricing on there. I'm not trying to sneak you into a call with me and then slide some sales pitch at you. Not knocking that method, but it just honestly isn't me.
I'm knocking it. I actually got a call freaking 45 minutes ago. This dude talking about, well, let me slide you to my manager. And we usually don't talk about prices up front. Dude, I'm a broke entrepreneur. You better tell me. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, there's nothing that I wouldn't share. But how we work together is so different. Now, I really like people to recognize that we are a branding agency. We aren't a glorified design firm who just says we do branding. Once again, not knocking that, but I want to make sure people understand that there's so much more depth to how we do it. And this will make a little bit more sense now. The very first thing we do after we do the formalities of, getting to know whether or not you can handle me, because I am a lot. But
what do you mean by that? We can't skip over that. I love it.
So one of my favorite people in the world, and she actually helped me with my own branding, is Kelsey. And Kelsey does branding photography, and she recognizes that a lot of the people she works with didn't know their own brand. So that's how we got connected, was through kind of her own passion with branding. And so I was like, it is really hard to do your own stuff. So I hired her and she helped me, and we went through a lot of great exercises together that I still live and breathe through my own brand. But she is high energy, high enthusiasm. Like, she is, if you think I'm kind of a lot right now, she is next level, like 10 times. And so we jokingly say that we are the co-founders of the Too Much Club, because a lot of times people are like, whoa, you're a lot. And I just mean that I'm super energetic. This is my baseline.
And that's your brand though, right? That's your brand. Yeah.
Well, it's yes. So so much of me absolutely fueled my brand. But I want people to know, and this is something we talk about when we get to the personality exercise of our branding, is that your personality, or the personality of the leaders within your company, can absolutely influence your brand personality. Wow. But it doesn't have to mirror. Okay. So Vim happens to be an English word, and it means high-spirited, enthusiastic, high energy. Oftentimes people have only heard the word when it's paired with vim and vigor. Like, oh, she's full of vim and vigor.
Vim and vigor, yeah.
Right? And so, yes, it is so much my company. Very high energy. But when I'm on these initial calls with someone, I'm not going to tone things. If I'm noticing that the person I'm talking to is like a little uncomfortable with what I'm bringing to the table energy-wise, that is something I'm not going to pull back on. I'm not going to get quiet. I'm not going to slim my words, because I want to attract someone who's attracted to me naturally and to what my brand delivers naturally, versus, shape shifting into something I'm not, which is only going to let them down in the end
when they start working with you.
Because I'm sorry, this is what you're getting all day, every day with me. I mean, trust me, my poor family and neighbors are like, whoa, girl, you're a lot. But,
I love it.
Thank you. Well, and so, with Vim being such an energetic word anyway, it was just a beautiful, beautiful moment when I was naming my company. And it is enthusiasm is it's my leading core value. Enthusiasm comes before even excellence. And trust me, excellence is so important to my brand. But if I'm not showing up with energy and enthusiasm and vim, then I'm not being true to me. And that's going to affect everything else I do. And so I protect that core lead word for my brand with everything. I protect it for me, I protect it for my team members, and I protect it for my clients because I want them to have just as much vim and bring just as much energy and passion to our time together, because that's when I get that, I'll often say, our vim is your vim. Because like Tony, when you're giving me the energy, it fuels me. You know, if you're back there looking at your phone, I'm not getting that fuel, right? I'm getting something different. And so our other I in VIM stands for integration. And just like how these two eyes kind of look like two people, it's that energy exchange, right? I do best when we're integrating our brains together. What you do so well with your company, I'm not going to pretend I'm the expert in septic. Okay, one of my clients is a septic company. I'm not going to act like I know everything about septic because I simply don't. But I'm going to sure feed off of your energy. I'm going to probe you for more info. I'm going to get to know the silly jokes about septics that you'll bring to the table. And that's where the magic happens. I think we've deviated really far from your initial question.
No. No, we're going. No, this is good. No, don't worry about the question. Give me whatever you want to give me. This is good. A lot of people are going to benefit from this because I feel like the biggest problem that we have in not just entrepreneurship, but just in peopleship is, like you said, everybody, they shape shift. When I was growing up, I was almost gouted into shapeshifting. I wasn't allowed to go to school and be who I was because I was going to another school that was outside of my community. So what happens when you grow up, right? What happens when you grow up and you're an adult? You're the same way. And you go out in the hallways in the corporate structure, you got all of these people being who they're not. Like it's a freaking mess, right? So
and
like
where's
for
the
me,
happiness?
it's miserable in this, and that's why so many people I feel like are depressed. I know I felt that way when I worked in corporate. I would be like, oh my god, this sucks. You know what I'm saying? This sucks. But I love that. I love, man, that's what I hate. I hate meetings. I would hate being in meetings because it would always be somebody that would be like, hey man, I really need y'all to get excited about this thing. And they hadn't researched it. There was no passion behind it. And I was just like, this is so low energy. Why should I care about it if you don't care about it? And I want to tell you what you just did for me, right? Was that sold me. I want to work with you. I ain't never did this while we were recording the show, but I want to figure out how we could work together, because if there is not one thing that I complain about, because I do complain, I don't do it in public, but I freaking complain about is hiring or working with somebody hiring me, and there's just that the pessimistic, no, like checking a box. I'm showing up just to get a paycheck. I'm showing up just to whatever. But like, I feel like the excellence, when you said that, I was like, that's what it is. It's freaking excellence. Have you always, is that you, like 100% always?
Yes. So my core values, I have 6 core values. They are enthusiasm, positive, intention, excellence, visual, and peace. Okay. And so a lot of those they all serve so much purpose. Enthusiastic is absolutely me to a core. I'm overly outgoing, really funny. And this has nothing to do with like anything. I don't have any judgment, but I don't drink, and I've never have. And people are like, how do you not drink and go out in public and have fun? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I'm just enjoying this. And then excellence. I mean, I was the total atypical teacher's pet, good grades, honor classes, AP classes, all of the things, right? Always striving. And I was not valedictorian. I wasn't scoring 4.0s, but I was seeking this constant, like, being better, being excellent, working hard. And if I'm going to do something, then it's going to show and it's going to be amazing. And so that excellence has always been instilled in me. And so that's naturally, once again, going back to just something natural to you, it naturally comes out of my work. And then visual being one of my keywords, I have always seen the world in a very unique way. I don't want to say like no one else sees it like this, but it is different than what most people look at. And the best example, and I love sharing this example on a podcast or an interview, when I was 10 years old, what 10-year-old is thinking this? So when I was 10, there was this neighborhood and it had a really bad reputation. And I don't want this word, but I mean, I was 10. This is truly the word. But
it is what it is.
It was called Fur Meadows. That was the real name of the neighborhood. But it was nicknamed.
That sound pretty gangster. For Meadows.
Well, and it got nicknamed For Ghettos.
Oh, man.
And it had such a bad reputation. Yes, such a poor reputation. And I would drive by Fur Meadows all the time. And just like any other, neighborhood, suburban neighborhood, they have the sign out front before you enter. And I remember as a 10-year-old girl thinking, if somebody would just go and sand off all of the chipped off paint and just, sharpen the edges and gave it a fresh coat of paint, that whole community's reputation could change.
Wow.
And now I know that to not necessarily be true today, but there are elements of truth in that. But why was my 10-year-old brain looking at the association of reputation to a visual? I don't know. I can't answer my own question, but it was just something that I always looked at life and looked at. And like, I mean, that is technically branding, but it's not, we're not, other than buying and selling a house in there, I guess. But I was always looking at things in a very visual way and tying it to an intention. So with my other core value of intention, I always knew, well, there was a purpose on why something looks the way it looks. Or there's a lack of intention and I don't get a lot out of it. I can't glean much other than does it look nice or not? Right?
Wow.
Yeah. So, and then really quickly, so positive, that's just a really important word because in business and working with leaders, to me, I want it to be a very positive experience for myself and my team, but I also want it to be a very positive experience for my clients too. And so egos and arrogance sometimes get in the way. And so I protect myself from that through that core value and my team. Like, it's just so important. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that ego and arrogance have to be negative words. I just think there's a lot of stuff that comes with that. So,
yeah.
And then to wrap all 5 of those really like atypical, A-type words, I have peace. And peace is my balance word. And it is a big word. And I use peace in my day-to-day, taking moments for myself of peace, protecting peace around a project. So I recently had one of my team members say, I'm so sorry, I didn't get that done in time. I'm going to cancel my Saturday night plans and I'm going to stay up all night Sunday. I'll have it to you Monday, I promise. Okay, well, what sort of energy and peace are you sitting in?
It made me feel nervous just hearing it.
Yeah. And so, my approach to that is, of course, we strive for excellence, right? But not at the sacrifice of our own humanly peace. And so I said, no, you will not cancel your plans on Saturday. You will not stay up all night on Sunday. I will talk to the client. We are human beings. I will have a conversation about where we're at, and you will take the time you need to do it well, to do it with excellence, to have peace with the project, and to have enthusiasm while you're doing it. And that's a really long way for me to say what you had said, right? It's right. We want to work together. I love to work with you, Tony. And the power in what I just shared for what I do is we create that for every other business owner. Is you don't just make these words, put them on a poster, and never talk about them again. You literally have a sticky note in front of you with them, and you feel every decision that you make through them first.
Wow. So that was going to get to my next question, is because I hear people say core value, you say core value, you say principles. They always, Tony, like, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? And why is it so important for everybody to have core values?
Yeah, see, I do call them core values, but when we are going through the exercise to help flush this out for clients, I tell them these are really decision-making principles. You filter every decision through these values, and it makes everything easier. So let me give you an example that I share with my one-to-one clients. So where are you at again? California?
No, I'm down the street from you. I'm in Washington.
Oh, we're the same. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just gonna say I'm glad that we didn't do this in studio. You'd have been like, what's the intention for that over there?
I love that. Oh my God, we should have done it in studio. Okay. So
there's always opportunity. I had a vision when you were talking about you talking at one of our panels that we're doing on entrepreneurship. As a matter of fact, here in the studio down the hall, another business owner, we have this vision of just blessing the community with this information on entrepreneurship, because I think it's important. I think Brandon is important. So yeah, we'll be on the stage together. I didn't even ask you. I could just see it. Do you speak a little bit about? Do you speak on stages at all?
Yeah, I was blessed with the gift of gab, and I have very little fear of speaking. I can speak to one person or 1,000 people. I don't think it would break my nerves. So yes, I would love to. And I really, I've said this before too, on quotes or on podcasts or my social, everything that I have learned about what I do with branding, about my leadership in business or whatever it may be, I truly know was from the graciousness of somebody else willing to gift it on me. And so for me to return that favor by having a giver's gain mentality and just sharing my knowledge, I know it comes back tenfold. Like, that's why when you said, don't give away your proprietary process, no way, that I will give that away all day long.
No, some people get weird about it. They're like, what do you like, dude, I know you tell everybody all your business, everything that you do. Well, don't, when it comes to my book and stuff, don't be talking about chapters. I've had that before. People didn't, I had, and those kind of episodes, they never seen the light of day on any freaking platform that I have, because but anyway.
Well, it makes sense. I get it. I think there is a time and place. And so don't get me wrong. I'm not saying everyone needs to give everything away for free. But I just also think that this day and age, you're truly going to gain more and faster if you find a way to evolve, to grow and to give growth opportunities around what you do for your audience. So, and right, that can look different for everyone. But so my example, going back to the power of your brand and core values and decision-making principles, is Southwest Airlines. And this had to probably be like 10 years ago now. They had an article come out, a news article come out, where they had an irate passenger. And if you've ever flown Southwest Airlines, they're still to this day very, very on brand with this moment. But the irate passenger found it really inappropriate and did not enjoy the like rap / sing song kind of, buckle your seatbelt, exit signs are here, mask will come down. Like,
I thought those were dope.
I know, right? My personality, of course, is going to love that. But this one irate passenger did not, right? They found it very inappropriate and really just stirred the pot and made such a big scene. Okay. One of Southwest Airlines' core values is humor. And so, because it was on a poster in the corporate office for none of the staff to ever see, because it was lived and breathed through their training, through their day-to-day work, the flight attendants knew we are not going to sacrifice humor, one of our core values, for one irate passenger and sacrifice it for the other 149 or however many are on a plane. We are going to know that we can make the decision without talking to our corporate leader, without talking to the owner of Southwest. We can very confidently, as flight attendants or pilots, make the decision to let that one passenger choose to leave, choose to never fly Southwest again, choose to sit quietly. And we're not changing who we are for one, when the rest of us appreciate that. And so that's just one of my favorite examples because, one, I love that humor is one of their core values. I mean, it's an airplane, it's travel, right? Travel for so long is serious and nerve-wracking.
Mm-hmm.
And, do I put my stuff in my pocket? Do I take my shoes off, right? We're always nervous about it. And then to bring humor in, it's just such a blessing, I think.
I think so too.
But that's a perfect example of how the power of your brand language, and your values helps make your day-to-day easier.
Wow. That's pretty cool. When you were talking, I was thinking, you were talking about decision making and values. I'm a believer now that when there's big stuff going on in corporations, or not even big stuff, but like everything, I feel like there should be like a chief branding officer, somebody that like not just PR, but almost, I wonder if, well, that exists kind of. You ever heard Claude Silver? You ever heard of her? She's VaynerMedia's chief heart officer. You ever heard of a position? Yeah, I wonder.
No, I haven't. These examples I have not. But chief branding officer, CBO. So
they have those.
Yep, CBO. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So we actually do a VCBO, virtual chief branding officer. So some of our higher level clients who bleed their brands throughout, but don't have somebody on staff or aren't to that level where they need a full-time CBO, but they want somebody who is, kind of being that like pulse and that check on a regular basis. That's one of we only offer that for branding clients, naturally.
Yeah, right.
But, so CBO, and then I love chief heart officer. You said that. I don't know if that's a term, but I mean,
that's what they call it. It's pretty dope, that. Right?
For sure. Talk about a cool business card, chief heart officer.
I know, right? Wow. How did you get into branding?
My brother is a phenomenal, incredibly talented illustrator. When it's actually a funny little story I'll add in. When I grew up, and actually, I'm going to totally name drop. So, of course, I don't know Jennifer Lopez, but Jennifer Lopez just came out on Netflix with her halftime show, right? And within the first 10 minutes of her show, she talks about how she grew up and she was not the smart one. Her oldest sister was the smart one. She was not the singer. Her younger sister was the singer. She was the athletic or maybe dancer. Okay. So very early on, she had these ideas of what she is, quote unquote, instilled in her through this family dynamic, and probably not in a negative way, right? Just like, you're the dancer, you're the singer, you're the smart one. Well, I grew up as not the creative one. I was the leader. the outgoing one, but not creative. Because my brother, he would take Legos, food, he would take construction paper, paint. I mean, any medium that you would give him, he would create stunning, beautiful things. I mean,
Wow.
from the youngest of age. So I grew up with this idea in my head that I was not creative. And so the answer of like, how did you get into branding as somebody who perceives themselves as not creative is that it's worth sharing, right?
Right.
Especially since, you think of a painter as creative, Well, I found my creativity as soon as I got the right medium in my hand. So I got my very first Mac computer. And knowing my brother as the artist, he was always dabbling in with all the Adobe software. So Photoshop, Illustrator, all of the things that he would use to create what he created. And so I just naturally assumed everyone had to have that because that's all I knew. So I got a computer with design software and I got a camera. And all of a sudden, the idea of blending photography with design opened my creativity to marketing.
Wow.
And so I would blend design work, logos, fonts, colors, all the things that whoever would hire me, right? Whether it was my day-to-day job, because every position I ever held, I weaseled my way into some sort of newsletter or something that I could do to create, use this itchy creative spot that I found. Or family and friends who would trust in me to do their, baby shower invites or Christmas card. And so I'd blend these two worlds together. And naturally, I started learning, okay, I can make things pretty, but marketing is about making things perform. And that is where branding and sales and true marketing really started to fuel through me. And that was truly just an involvement. Like over time, I'm not going to say there was one pivotal moment where everything was like downloaded in my skull. But it's just ever evolving of realizing that all of this integrates with itself. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm geeking out.
Wow. No, I love it. I love it. I love it because that's I'm glad that you said that the difference between brand and marketing. You put it so good. That was good.
There's such a difference, right? I mean,
that's like, yeah.
Really,
go. No, you go.
Really clear. I want to make it so clear because, like, if you take nothing away from this episode, please take this away. Branding is what you do, who you are, how you do it. It is your perception of everything that makes up your company. Marketing is the vehicle to get your brand to your people. Okay. So there's multiple marketing vehicles: social media, email marketing, print marketing, podcasts, right? All these different verticals or vehicles. But if you haven't stopped and solidified your brand, what are those vehicles delivering? They deliver whatever happens to be that day. How many of us entrepreneurs listening to this are like, oh, we need to put a post out. Oh, we haven't done our newsletter. What should we talk about? Right? And
not the content in it, but we just need to check that box, right?
Yes. And when you have your brand solidified, it answers everything so much easier, even literally down to what we do. And I know it seems silly because you would think and you would assume every business knows what they do. But I'm here to tell you from someone who has worked with lots of businesses, that is not always the case.
Who are some of your top businesses? I'm curious.
Let's see. I have a restaurant.
Favorite. I shouldn't say top.
Top, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I will say, so, okay, favorite varies as far as like, there's different reasons why they're my favorite. But are we allowed to curse on this show, Tony?
Yeah. Okay. We're grown.
We're grown up. I curse when I'm passionate. And so to me, I never find it like I don't find it crass. I find it just passionate. But anyway, one of my favorite brands.
There's people I don't trust you if you don't curse. No, I'm just
Good girl. So one of my favorite experiences of going through branding was with a septic company, because my very first mentality was, well, how do I make shit cool? Like, how am I going to do this? Like, I have to make shit cool. All right, let's figure this one out. And that's one of my favorites because it was a challenge. And we did it. And oh my gosh, it's a phenomenal brand. I also really love, so locally here in Enumclaw, we have a health bar, and they were known as the Health Bar. Now they're known Sun Health Bar. And I love that brand because it's one of my favorites because they're so fun and vibrant. I have a lot of fun brands, don't get me wrong, but the vibrancy of food, right? We eat with our eyes. So talk about visual, right? One of my core values, one of my keywords in my acronym, visual. So food for me is also one of those really fun judgment visual branding things. And so the food that they put out, it's just so much fun. And we play off a lot of that. So, I mean, I could probably tell you, I have so many brands I love, but those two stand out in this moment.
Yeah. While you're on that subject, it's so funny. We have mutual friends, what we were talking about before. And I thought this was I wanted to wait to make sure that we're on camera, right? Because I want everybody, if you're an entrepreneur and you ain't got branded up, I want you to go holler at Steph because she's going to hook you up. There's my friends. I noticed something. I was like, usually I see their content, I see their stuff, and I'm like, whoa. I'm like, what the hell is going on? What is this? Like, what? I don't know. It was just like my head was spinning. I seen their logo and I seen everything that they had going on. And it was just like a pivotal moment for me. I was like, man, who are y'all working with? And she was like, oh, my friend that I was telling you about. And you're that friend. It gave me this feeling. Looking at it, it sounds like that's everything that you described in talking about Brandon is the feeling that it gives you. Am I right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I actually just earlier today was massaging some language around, the importance of a brand. And what happens when you don't have a brand is that you do have a brand, you're just not controlling it. Ooh. Because your brand is how people perceive you. And now what did I just talk about, right? Food, judgments. People they fill in the gaps for you if you don't do it. And so where our friends that we're talking about, our mutual friends, not that it's always negative. Don't get me wrong. People's perceptions don't always have to be negative. But if you want to control the narrative of every time you see their post, well, then we need to be intentionally instilling these feelings, right? Feeling is absolutely part of the brand. And people don't realize that you can do that through a variety of things: logos, colors, fonts, words, messaging, tone of photos, style of photos, tone of video. I mean, talk about your intro, right? Right off the bat, what sort of feeling did I get? I told you, I was like, eye on the tiger, about to fight. I mean,
that's what I wanted. That's what I wanted. I wanted us to run up the stairs together for this interview. I wanted, yeah.
And that's the thing is it's a feeling. You did that.
So you just got me pumped
up. No, you got me pumped up.
Oh man. Wow. That is some are you good on time? I know.
Yeah, I'm good. I probably have maybe 10 more minutes.
Okay, cool. No, this is perfect. I was gonna say wink once if you're ready to go. But yeah, I just got a couple more. This is super good. I can't wait to my students. I can't wait for them to hear this episode. This is so good. Write down everything. This could be a freaking masterclass in Brandon because I'm learning so much. I feel like we got to start paying our visitors because this is some good game. I have this, I have this thing where, and I truly believe this in my heart. I believe that
uh, awesome and amazing people such as yourself. You don't just get there overnight. There's have always been an obstacle, and that's what I started noticing uh, throughout the duration of this course. Is that all the exceptional leaders, all the amazing entrepreneurs, they have had to overcome something that they never thought that they were going to get through. Just to inspire those people that are watching this right now, and they're like, man, she got it together. What is that one thing, if you don't mind sharing?
Gosh,
Or anything.
yeah, it's such a hard one because, I could go like, feel like there was moments in time that would shape me. But this answer is going to feel like I'm not answering you, but I'm going to tell you this is real. I've gone through a lot of what people would say is trauma, right? How I was my upbringing, the parent family dynamic. I have two parents with cognitive disorders and brain injuries. So very early on, overcoming things was always there. But I have never, even recently, right at the beginning of the pandemic, so I grew up with a father who had cognitive disorders and brain injuries. My mother did not, but in early 2020, like a month after the pandemic hits, she suffers a brain injury and is hospitalized in the thick of COVID, right? Where you can't even like go to funerals, let alone see your parents in the ICU. Fortunately, I was able to be there, and fortunately, like, things are going okay. But my point of kind of sharing a little of that is I never tend to, I don't know if it's a self-preservation thing or what, but I never tend to see those things and let them bring me down. Now, don't get me wrong. I have down times. I have moments of that experience with my mom was probably the first time I could say I felt depressed in my life. But what I think I was just instilled very early on is that you are going to get a lot of shit thrown at you over and over and over again. And it might be little shit. It might be big shit. But instead of letting yourself get buried in it, I'm just going to acknowledge it, recognize it's real, not diminish its realness, recognize it's hard, recognize it sucks. But instead of letting it become me and be an excuse for things, and I hope I'm not trying to offend anyone. I know there's so much really hard things we're going through. But for some reason, I've always just been like, yeah, well, that's the fact. Now, how the hell do I overcome it? How do I power through? How do I not let that diminish everything else that makes me that I love? I don't know. I swear, Tony, sometimes I think, when is the hatchet going to fall? I'm like, I sit here and I sometimes think I've had it good. I've had it too good. I don't have a lot of hard things in my life. I sit here and I think of that. And I just think, oh, don't let yourself think that, because then the hatchet's going to fall. But then if I actually really look at it, I have had a lot of hard things.
That's what I was going to say. What an amazing perspective, because anybody else would be like, people watching this right now were like, yeah, you have. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah. And I don't know where that comes from. I wish I could give you some awesome tool or book or poem that like fueled that. But I just think it's how I've gotten through.
Wow. I think that is incredible. That is incredible. I'm really inspired by that. I go through hard times, even though I'm a motivational speaker. I go through hard times just like everybody else. And that really just inspired me.
Thank
you. You should write a book.
I've been told that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to relive any of that.
No, I hear you. That is amazing. I know there's some folks that are watching this. They're like, man, how do I contact Steph? How do I work with her? What's the best way to contact you?
So if you want to contact and like just kind of stalk me a little, I am the most present on Instagram. at Get Vim. So if you want to get a hold of Vim with 2 I's.
That's so
at
intentional.
Vim, I know. That's how you can get me. Or getvim.com. And then, of course, you can peruse what we offer, how to work with us. We do work one-to-one with clients, and that's our highest level of work. And we also have more do-it-yourself style opportunities. So if you're just young in your career, just want to kind of really have that stable foundation, but you're not looking to have us, do the whole kit and caboodle, we have offerings for that too.
Awesome. For our viewers, our listeners to listen, to see this was so good. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for serving the people. I really appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. I'm not just saying that, but like, thank you. Any parting words?
Well, thank you for a platform like this, right? I think this is phenomenal that you do that. There's a lot of podcasts out there, and giving leaders just a chance to just talk and not just sell, right? Like, yeah. I love that. So thank you for having me. It's been fun. This has probably been my most fun podcast. Can I say that? Other people might hear me. This is probably the most fun podcast I've done. This is the most fun podcast I've done. Thank you, Tony.
Cool. That was great. If you enjoyed this podcast, well, I'm sure you enjoyed it. If you're still here with us, what I want you to do is head over to your favorite podcast and streaming network and give us a download, subscribe to the channel, and also let us know what you think about the show. And from the bottom of my heart, I want to say thank you for the things that you've done. Thank you for the things that you're doing. And especially thank you for the things that you're going to do, because I know that you're going to do something amazing.